I don't even know what time it is.
Fashion beer.
Trying to get rescued from this place.
Take me back to old Yazoo. Everything up here is new. I can't stand it, just must land it.
On February 11th, 2021, this disturbing experience from the Arnold Outdoors channel captures a reality of backcountry camping. It truly shows us that sometimes the most threatening encounters come from people. The trip began like any other for the group. They were deep in the snowy wilderness outside Bend, Oregon, exploring remote forest roads in search of a secluded campsite.
Now we're going up in elevation. Slightly. It's getting a wee more snowy. It's not too cold though.
Could be worse.
Yep.
More chilly than what we're usually up in.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
This is freaking beautiful out here though.
Searching for a spot. There's people up here.
Oh, there's a spot there that had a fire pit.
Yeah, that's the one we said.
It's kind of too close, yeah.
Too close to this guy because he's right up here.
Yeah.
So we'll see if, when we passed, he was just sitting there. So we'll see if he's setting up camp or if he left.
Yeah.
That's the big if.
And if he left, that's home sweet home for the night, most likely.
And if he stayed, then there's another spot back down towards China.
Yeah.
We're gonna stay at because I feel that's far enough away to
Yeah.
feel safe. For me.
Yeah.
Still trying to find a spot. We found another little off-road, offshoot road. Try to see what this little sign is down here. What is that? I gotta zoom in on it with the camera to see what it is. OHV only, I think.
And more traveling.
More sagebrush.
And it's officially really friggin' dark now.
Yeah.
So, we're in the middle of flipping nowhere. You can't even see nothing. You can see the glow of Bend, I think,
I
back
don't
that
think
way.
it comes through on the camera, but over there you can see the glow of Bend.
Yeah.
And over there you can see one lone little, or
Yeah.
two actually.
Yeah, you can't
That
see
looks
shit.
like fire to me.
Yeah.
Maybe a fire, 2 or
Possibly.
3 miles off, and another little light way off.
But yeah, we're not going to know what this place even looks like till tomorrow, so.
After some trial and error navigating the dark back roads, they found a quiet, untouched clearing surrounded by pine trees, far from other campers or signs of civilization. It was cold, remote, and perfect for a winter retreat. The first night was peaceful. They set up camp, built a fire, and prepared to enjoy the solitude. Temperatures dipped well below freezing, but they were equipped with insulated shelters, warm bedding, and backup gear. They joked about the cold, prepped meals, and settled in for the night beneath the stars. But around 11:30 p.m., everything changed.
We won't give you our exact coordinates, but we're about 17 miles from Bend, about 7 miles from Paulina Lake, and just with those two descriptions, if you drew a couple of circles, you could probably pinpoint our location. If you have the time. But that's roughly where we are. Out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, kinda.
You hear that?
Yeah, what was that, a gunshot?
Gunshot or a vehicle? Vehicle. Or Bigfoot's fucking screaming. Clear as day, dude. Sound like a vehicle on a gravel road.
Probably caught it on the camera.
Hopefully that was freaky sounding.
Ears up, yeah.
Twice, loud as hell.
Almost sound like gunshots.
It did almost sound like gunshots echoing. But there's lots of people out here.
Definitely a gunshot.
Close. Really close. Like within a mile.
Probably within half a mile.
Sounds like a 22, and it sounds like it's coming from that way.
Sounds like it's coming from behind you.
It's 11:30. Someone must be going to bed. Shooting guns off before they go to bed or something.
Scare all the coyotes off.
Sounded like a 22 to me.
Kinda, yeah.
Cracky, snappy.
Or a handgun.
Yeah.
Might have been a 9.
Yeah, but, yeah, maybe. Just seemed too snappy. It's really close, though. Like,
Yeah, normally I would answer, but...
yeah.
Gunshots rang out in the distance, followed by the unmistakable sound of an approaching vehicle. At first, it wasn't clear whether the shots were recreational target practice or something more sinister. But as the vehicle got closer, the situation escalated.
Vehicle.
it sounds like they're moving. Let's turn that off.
Yeah, go. Yeah. You want to
You
get
got
it?
it. You can do it.
Yeah, it sounded like a vehicle. Revving up. Wow.
Oh.
They're right fucking there, dude.
They're like driving around shooting.
Hooting and hollering and shooting. It's teenagers hooting and hollering. Kill the lights. They might shoot at us. Kill it and get low. For real. Fire! Where is it? It's like, fire, don't fire. God dang, right there. No. I'm pretty sure he said, fire. The one dude said,
Oh, yeah.
where? And then he said, God dang, right there.
Yeah,
Pointing towards
like
our
a
fire.
Yeah.
Like they saw our fire.
The truck came down a nearby road with his lights off, and those inside began randomly firing into the surrounding forest. The campers could hear laughter and shouting. Reckless behavior made all the more dangerous by the fact that they were camped nearby with a visible fire. At one point, voices indicated that the group in the vehicle had noticed the fire and were discussing it, raising fears that the shooting might turn toward them intentionally or accidentally. The campers quickly extinguished their lights and got low, unsure whether they'd been targeted or merely stumbled upon by people who had no regard for the safety of others. The random gunfire continued for several minutes before the truck eventually sped off, leaving only silence and the faint echo of their engine in the distance. Shaken but unhurt, the campers weighed their options. They decided not to pursue the vehicle or investigate further, recognizing that the unpredictable behavior they'd just witnessed could have turned deadly if they were seen or confronted. The rest of the night was spent in a state of high alert. Though the group had originally chosen the site for its remoteness, that same isolation now felt like a liability. Without cell service or close neighbors, they had no immediate way to call for help had something gone wrong. The vulnerability of their situation was suddenly apparent. To make matters worse, early the next morning, high winds caused their pop-up shelter to collapse. The structure was lifted off the ground and thrown several feet from the campsite, forcing the group to scramble outside in freezing temperatures to secure their gear. Already rattled from the night before, the chaos added another layer of stress to what had become a dangerously unpredictable outing. Despite the events, no physical harm came to the group. But things could have ended very differently if luck hadn't been on their side. What did you make of this encounter? Like always, I'll let you draw your own conclusions. Before moving to the next encounter, I just want to take this moment to thank and congratulate you all because we have crossed 50,000 subscribers. Our 50K special free surprise was revealed, and almost all of you seem to love it. I'm beyond blessed to have you as community, and I'm more committed than ever to bring you the best and most entertaining videos possible. I aim to take this channel to #1, and I will do that no matter what. So, subscribe and enjoy the show. Our next goal is 100,000 subscribers before August. Once we reach that, I'll reveal another awesome surprise for you all. Now back to the video. On November 4th, 2024, this video was uploaded by this Turkish outdoor channel, known for its peaceful, nature-focused camping trips and survival experiences in remote wooded regions. This particular trip was no different, at least at first. A calm, forested area was chosen as the site for their overnight stay, and the early moments of the video follow a familiar rhythm. Setting up the tent, collecting firewood, cooking food, and settling in as the sun dips below the treetops. As evening fell, everything appeared serene. The wind was still, the fire crackled steadily, and the dense tree canopy above them cast deep shadows across the campsite. It was an ordinary trip in every way, until night arrived and the forest began to change. What started as subtle, distant noises quickly turned into something far more disconcerting. Branches snapped in the darkness just beyond the tent. Movement, measured and deliberate, began circling the perimeter. At first, it could have been dismissed as a curious animal, but the pacing didn't stop. The sound of footsteps shifted from one side of the tent to the other, pausing briefly as if to listen, then continuing again in a slow, methodical rhythm. It soon became clear that this was no passing creature. Whatever was out there was staying close, just out of sight, but close enough that its presence could be felt. The tension escalated when the tent itself began to react.
Çok ses var Hakan. Ya ne yapacak şimdi? O sesler ne? Köpek öyle mi ses çıkarır? Ya çadırın etrafında. Ya canım bir çıkmayın neymiş yavaş yavaş. Lambayı da al. Bakın çok bir şey var orada. Ne yapacak ya? Silah da yok. Fermuar azıcık açtı bak hadi. Ya hadi. Sen de ne kadar böyle soğukkanlısın. Görmüyor musun? Bir sürü ses var. Allah Allah, bu neydi ya? Korktum ben ya, nasıl yatacağım? Hakan! Hakan şurada bir şey var.
Sus bağırma sus.
Elim ayağım titriyor.
The fabric bulged in and rippled, as if something had brushed or pushed against it. The behavior wasn't frantic or accidental. It was subtle, but intentional. Despite their extensive outdoor experience, the situation grew unnerving. The forest, which had felt welcoming during daylight, had transformed into something alien and hostile. There was no visible threat, no eyes in the darkness, no silhouette between the trees, only sound and pressure. That absence of clarity made the encounter even more chilling. The human mind, left without answers, begins to fill in the blanks. Hours passed in a haze of heightened alertness. The strange pacing continued off and on, each return just as slow and deliberate as the last. At times the movement would pause entirely, creating long silences that felt almost worse than the sound itself. Eventually, the sound stopped. Whether the visitor had lost interest or was simply watching from deeper within the woods was impossible to say. When daylight finally returned, the mood shifted, but the unease remained. They emerged from the tent cautiously, scanning the area for any sign of what had been there, but there were no footprints, no broken branches, nothing to explain what had happened, only an oppressive silence and the haunting feeling that they'd been watched. This wasn't a violent encounter. Nothing was taken, and no one was harmed. But that's precisely what makes it so disturbing. There was no confrontation, no resolution, just an invisible presence lingering around a thin nylon shelter, waiting and observing. The YouTube channel Wander with Vickers is run by a couple who've embraced the nomadic lifestyle, often camping out of their vehicle while exploring the scenic landscapes of the UK. Their content typically focuses on peaceful outdoor experiences, minimal impact wild camping, and capturing the beauty of nature. But during a trip through Snowdonia, Wales, their journey took a disturbing turn. 7 days into their wild camping trip, they were searching for a quiet new place to camp after just replacing several tires in a nearby town. Using satellite maps and scouting forums, they found a small lake with a narrow access road and signs simply instructing visitors not to block a nearby gate. They obeyed all visible rules and parked responsibly, ensuring there was plenty of clearance. A local passerby even briefly stopped to take photos near their vehicle, giving them the impression that others use this area safely and frequently.
Here's where we're leaving the car. Here's where we're going. Look, we found a fake rock. Why are you here, fake rock? Probably covering electrics. Yeah. Needed to know. So here we are at Lynn, Beep, and don't know what this is. They've covered up the car park, which is here. There's no longer access to the world's most perfect car camping or van spot ever. Meanies. But yeah, here's our location. Very flat ground over there. I mean, we might camp there, or we might find some around there. We shall see. Should we ditch the bags? Alright, Ozzy. Oh my god, that feels so nice to take the bag off. I feel like a partial hunchback, I mean, not humpback. Okay, the dogs can have a little bit of freedom because we've been through a million gates and there is a wall over here, fence. All the cows and the sheep are being kept over there. So one place is right here, we can put it, or we're just going to check just up here as well. I've triple, quadruple checked about the animal situation, and no animals can get in here. They're all fenced out, so it's good.
Feeling confident in their choice, they set off into the hills with their dogs and gear to enjoy a peaceful night beside the lake. The landscape was stunning, the skies were clear, and despite a few sheep being herded nearby at sunset, the night appeared to pass without incident. They went to bed unaware that their calm evening would end in disaster. The next morning, as they returned to their vehicle, the mood changed instantly.
So coming back from the car, from our camp, I have 4 flat tyres and a smashed windscreen and a smashed window, complete with rock inside.
Poor car. Are you still on hold, babe?
Yeah. I've been on the phone for 57 minutes.
For someone who didn't want us to stay here, they've made us stay here a real long time. Strange.
Trying to get rescued from this place. The breakdown people don't cover it. So on the phone with the insurance, and it's looking like it's going to be bye-bye to the car. It's going to have to get scrapped, and I'm going to have to make a claim. But it's not going to be repairable, apparently, because of the damage. So it's probably going to be bye-bye car. So the farmers literally killed our car, murdered it. Even yesterday, somebody else was parked just over there, not blocking the gate as well. Another local person walking to the lake. There was no gate access blocked at all. He saw us probably, I guess yesterday, when he came in, heard the sheep. I guess really hates wild campers, because it's not like we're in the way of the gate, so what other reason could it be?
No, nothing was stolen from the car.
Nothing was stolen. So we made a police report, mainly just for the insurance purposes. Not that that's going to help me at all, because apparently because of the age of the car, it's just not economical for them to repair it. So that's it for the car.
I guess he wasn't strong enough to smash this one fully.
The car had been severely vandalized. All 4 tires were flat, the windshield was smashed, and one of the windows had been broken with a rock left behind as evidence. The damage was deliberate and extensive, not the result of weather or accident, but an act of aggression. What made the incident especially unsettling was that nothing had been stolen. The car still contained valuable camera gear and other belongings, all untouched. The attack wasn't about theft. It was a clear message. Someone didn't want them camping there, and the suspect, based on the timing and location, appeared to be a nearby landowner or farmer, someone who had likely seen them walking in the area the evening before. With no immediate support, they were left stranded. Their insurance company considered the incident a fault claim and declined to cover the damage in a meaningful way. Their breakdown provider also refused assistance, stating that because the vehicle was not on a public road, it didn't qualify for recovery. Hours of phone calls led nowhere. Eventually, thanks to the help of a local recovery service and a family member who drove out to help, they managed to remove the car and salvage their belongings. But the camper itself was beyond repair. The damage to the windshield, tires, and windows was so severe that the insurance company opted to scrap it entirely. The experience was a devastating blow to their lifestyle. Not only had they lost their vehicle, the cornerstone of their travel life, but they had also been subjected to the kind of hostility that can make wild campers feel unwelcome and unsafe. And the fact that the damage occurred in such a remote, peaceful-looking place only underscored the unpredictability of camping in areas where tensions over land use quietly simmer. Despite the incident, they chose to share their story not to discourage wild camping, but to raise awareness. Their message was clear: always be cautious, even in seemingly friendly locations, Just because a spot looks safe doesn't mean everyone nearby is welcoming, and in some cases, hostility can manifest in ways that are both aggressive and irreversible. Like always, let me know what you think of this encounter. Snow and Kurt, the duo behind the channel Snow and Kurt, have been traveling full-time in their Mercedes Sprinter van for nearly 4 years, primarily across Latin America. In that time, they've experienced everything from remote mountain drives to bustling city stops, always with a sense of awareness. That changed dramatically one night while parked near a shopping mall in Concepcion, Chile. The area they chose felt safe, well lit, surrounded by other vehicles, and just a stone's throw from a modern mall. It wasn't a secluded dirt road or a shady side alley. It was, by all accounts, a public and secure place. But even in a setting like that, danger found them.
Alright guys, no doubt about it, our scariest moment in the van. Voice is shaking, it's taken us a minute to get the camera. Oh, you alright, Kurt?
Yeah.
Middle of the night. I don't even know what time it is. It's
not that late.
It's only 10 o'clock. I don't know if y'all can see it, but we just woke up to someone banging on the window. Our 3M security film worked, but our window is shattered. We need to duct tape this. We'll be back in a minute. Definitely our scariest moment in the van. Oh, I almost got in. Oh, I'm shaking.
Me too.
Oh, our poor kitty cats are scared the daylight out of them.
Oh, wow. That was scary.
Alright. We gotta figure out what to do now. We, clearly, first thing in the morning, have to find a place to get a new window. I don't think there'll be any sleeping tonight, so I don't even really think we need to move. We're in a very lit up area, right by a very nice mall.
There's cars around us.
There's cars all around us. There's cars driving by. It's not even 10 o'clock at night.
They were just trying to smash in and steal what's
Grab.
in the van.
Yeah.
Just smash and grab.
Well, I could tell you I've never saw Kurt move that fast.
Shortly after 10 p.m., the peaceful evening was shattered when a man began aggressively smashing at the front passenger window of their van. The glass didn't give way, thanks to a layer of 3M security film designed to prevent break-ins. Still, the force was enough to completely fracture the window, sending shockwaves of panic through the couple inside. The attempted break-in triggered their emergency protocol. Spotlights were flipped on, noise was made, and the van was started immediately, ready to flee if necessary.
He brought a grocery cart with him.
Yeah.
He had a grocery cart, and Snow saw him trying to escape.
Yeah, Kurt scared the daylights out of him.
And he was stumbling and fumbling and falling to get away. But these were in his grocery cart, so we don't know if he stole these from somebody else, or they were his, or they're his disguise when he gets away.
But we're going to find someone to give them to because we weren't going to let him come back and have them. There are bad people all over the place, but there are a lot more good people. This will not put a damper on Chile for us. There's a couple of things I want to tell y'all. Our house was broken into in Orlando, Florida. The same thing. One of our glass kitchen doors shattered. This can happen anywhere. So we don't blame Chile or Concepcion. We don't blame ourselves. We were parked in an incredibly safe area that was lit up like crazy, and there were literally people 20 feet away when he tried to break through our window. Another thing I want to tell you is we planned for something like this to happen, hoping it never would. But everything we talked about that we would do if something like this happened kicked in. You know, we have spotlights that we can turn on immediately, so we flip them on. Kurt gets up, we make a lot of noise, because for the most part, we've always figured if someone's going to try to break into our van, they just want to steal stuff. They don't want to hurt us. So if they are figuring out that someone is in the van, they're likely going to leave, and that's exactly what happened. So Kurt gets up, I flip on the lights, lots of screaming, lots of noise, and we crank the van immediately in case we have to evacuate, which we did, but not in a hurry because he ran away.
Now, one detail is we woke up to a loud boom, 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 boom. I think there was 6 times. He must have been just smashing the windshield with his elbow or his fist. And the other thing that we have in place is we have security tent on our windows.
Yeah, a film that keeps them from breaking, and it worked.
The intruder bolted, likely startled by the sudden lights and chaos, leaving behind only a stolen grocery cart and a pair of overalls believed to be part of his attempted disguise or escape gear. Still reeling from the experience, they decided not to stay in the area and relocated to a 24-hour truck stop outside of town.
We made it to a 24-hour truck stop out on the
edge of town,
the turnpike just outside of town, parked up between 2 semis. It is 11:15. We're going to try to find a window first thing in the morning. We're going to try to get some sleep. I don't know how that's going to happen. We'll see you in the morning.
Sandwiched between 2 semis, they spent the remainder of the night there, trying their best to rest despite the adrenaline and fear that lingered. The following morning confirmed the reality. They hadn't imagined it. The shattered window was still intact only because of the security film, but it would need replacement immediately. As they gathered their bearings, they reviewed the events. The loud, repetitive pounding on the glass, the flash of a man fleeing into the night, and the stunned expressions on their 2 cats, who'd been curled up near the dashboard when it happened. Importantly, Snow and Kurt didn't blame Chili for what happened. They acknowledged that such incidents can occur anywhere. Even their home in Orlando, Florida had once been broken into under similar circumstances. Instead, they emphasized how preparedness made all the difference. From the security film to the lighting setup, every precaution they had in place helped ensure their safety. Despite the fear, they remained grounded in perspective. Their emergency plan worked. No one was harmed. And above all, they were reminded of a difficult but necessary truth. No matter how safe a location may seem, full-time van life always comes with a degree of risk. What made this encounter especially unsettling wasn't just the sudden violence, but the reminder that in a lifestyle designed around freedom and adventure, vulnerability is never too far away. What did you think of this encounter? Let me know. Posted to YouTube on July 13th, 2011, this intense video from the channel Sean SW captures a moment that shows how dangerous solo outdoor adventures can become when nature decides to intervene. The video begins innocently enough, showing the runner enjoying the natural scenery. But that calm is shattered when a large grizzly bear appears ahead on the trail. At first, there's a moment of hesitation, as the bear seems to be simply crossing the path. However, instead of wandering off into the woods, the animal turns toward the runner and begins approaching, calmly at first, but with unmistakable purpose. What's unnerving is the grizzly's confidence. This isn't a startled bear reacting defensively. It's a direct and deliberate advance, as though it's curious or asserting dominance. With no time to hesitate, the runner wisely decides to retreat, keeping his distance while never turning his back completely. The situation becomes a tense standoff between man and beast, with both parties locked in a delicate dance of territory, caution, and survival instinct. What makes this encounter stand out is its realism. There's no dramatic music or camera trickery, just raw footage of an all-too-real risk that comes with exploring remote wilderness alone. In the end, the runner is able to create enough space and retreat without incident, but the message is unmistakable. Nature is unpredictable, and wild animals, especially apex predators like grizzlies, don't follow scripts. This wasn't a chase or an attack, but it was close enough to remind anyone watching that, in the wilderness, you are never truly alone. The YouTube channel True Adventure, run by a duo who frequently explore remote forests across Indonesia, is no stranger to rugged conditions. Their content often showcases survival-focused camping, riverside fishing, and enduring intense tropical storms. But during one particular overnight trip beneath what locals referred to as a haunted tree, their experience shifted from a peaceful forest escape to a night of unexplained terror. It started as a typical adventure. After navigating through thick brush and difficult terrain, the pair set up camp beside a quiet lake, surrounded by jungle. As night fell, the weather took a turn. Despite the conditions, they focused on basic survival tasks, cooking over a fire, pitching their tarp shelter, and preparing for a restful night in the wild. Once the fire was going and a hot meal was finished, they relaxed and soaked in the peaceful sounds of nature. But as darkness fully settled, the tone of the night began to shift. Then came the sounds, subtle at first, of something moving just beyond the tree line. At first, they tried to brush it off as an animal or a trick of the wind, but the noises grew more distinct. Then came the shadows.
Astagfirullahaladzim! Astagfirullahaladzim! Apa tu? Astagfirullahaladzim! Itu aku nampak apa tadi tu? Astagfirullahaladzim! Serius? Tengok asli merinding. Namang tadi? Sini aku nampak tadi ni. Serius lah. Serius? Ini gemetar jantung aku. Apa tu?
Ini emang agak apa nih?
Apa tu bunyi tadi tu?
Tengoklah, tengok merinding dulu kok. Tengok merinding. Diam. Tengok.
Diam.
Suara apa tuh? Merinding.
Tengok pemirsa. Tuh coba merinding semua dia. Asli aku pun nampak juga tadi tu, entah apalah tadi tu.
Aku jangan nengok langsung merinding ah.
Aduh. Tunggu dulu ya, coba kita tengok nanti dia. Aku asli penasaran aku.
A pale figure was spotted darting past the edge of the camp. Its appearance was so fleeting, it was easy to question whether it had truly been there at all. But what couldn't be denied was the emotional reaction. It triggered an immediate, involuntary sense of dread. Something began pacing around their camp, deliberately slow. Not the chaotic rustling of a wild animal, but the rhythmic, calculated steps of something observing. They remained frozen in fear, unsure whether to run or stay hidden. The isolation of the forest made any attempt to flee risky. Their equipment was limited, and the terrain around the lake was slick from rain and covered in tangled roots. Instead, they stayed put, holding their breath as the unseen visitor continued its patrol. Simultaneously, another white shape seemed to pass in front of the tent. The fear became paralyzing. Both of them began to shake uncontrollably, convinced that something unseen and malevolent was surrounding them. Though no physical contact occurred beyond the earlier tent movement, the psychological toll was immense. They waited out the night, eyes wide open, unable to sleep. By morning, whatever had disturbed them was gone. But the silence left in its wake felt just as haunting. They packed up camp in daylight, taking special care to avoid looking into the dense brush around them. Whatever had visited their sight left no clear footprints, no obvious signs, only an overwhelming sense of dread and a shared belief that they had not been alone. The experience became one of the most viewed and discussed episodes on their channel, with many viewers noting the telltale signs of a supernatural encounter rooted in local folklore. But as always, let me know what you made of this. With this final encounter comes the end of another episode. You know what to do, but if you don't, let me remind you again to like and subscribe. Also, leave a comment about what you liked and didn't like about this video. We always look to improve our video quality so you get the best videos possible. In about 3 seconds, there will be more disturbing videos on screen for you to watch. And with that, I'm out.